why do some of the stuff that I'm talking about cause you to have this bloating or swelling of your abdomen? Well, overeating or eating too much too quickly can cause bloating because your digestive system, right, slows down. Yeah, everyone, Dr. Partha Nandi. Talking about something a lot of my patients ask me, hey, why is my stomach so bloated? Again, thank you for joining me. I'm Dr. Partha Nandi, and we are talking about something that so many of us, right, that I see a lot of my patients talk about that, but lots of people talk about why am I so bloated? Why do I feel like I am, 6 months pregnant, even though there's no way I could have a baby, right? So we're talking about that today and talking about, what it is that we can do, giving you solutions. So today we're talking about being bloated, being uncomfortable, and what does that mean for all of us? So thank you for joining us. Listen, if it's Thanksgiving and you've had this giant meal, of course it's normal to be bloated, but there are folks who feel bloated all the time. Sometimes even if they don't eat, often after they eat a normal meal, right? So it's remember, bloating and the feeling of bloating is not always from eating too much at the dinner table, right? Abdominal bloating is quite common. Estimated 30%, 30% of the US adult population experience this kind of bothersome feeling, at least some of the time. For people who suffer from this, it's not just annoying, right? It can also be uncomfortable, painful, change the way you live your life. There are people who choose their jobs, choose what they do based on that. They don't go out with friends, and because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They don't go out and enjoy a nice meal because they're afraid of what's going to happen. If it's you, hey, take a look. Today we're talking about it, maybe giving you solutions and not just talking about, hey, this could be happening, but giving you solutions. So what's actually happening? When bloating happens, this occurs. Your gastrointestinal tract is typically filled with air or gas, right? The GI tract, when I talk about that, is from your mouth all the way to your anus, right? That's what we talk about, the GI tract. And when you're bloated, you feel as if you've eaten this giant meal and there's no room in your stomach. Tell me if you had that feeling. Again, I welcome all of you to give me some questions, give us your comments, tell us where you're from. Don't be shy. And we're talking about this, and it's people worry about this is it's kind of a personal issue, but listen, so many millions of people in the country and the world suffer from this. So let us know if you're suffering from this, and if it's informative or helpful, share this with your tribe, your folks that you know that would benefit from it. So what are some symptoms? Right? Your stomach feels full and tight. Your abdomen physically can look larger. I've had patients that have given me pictures, and you can see your abdomen fill up, right? So it's important to know that. And when you're bloated, you could also burp or pass gas from below frequently. And sometimes it provides relief, but sometimes it does not, right? So what about them causes? What causes bloating? For those of you who's joining us, we're talking about bloating. A lot of my patients complain about it. What do you have problems? Let us know, and we can hopefully try to answer your questions today. What causes bloating? Here are some behaviors, right, that can lead to gas, and some actually may be quite surprising. Talking while eating food. What happens? You're swallowing in air, right? All of us are like, but the Italian in me comes out when I talk, like when I eat, rather. I'm eating and I'm talking and I'm talking. We don't want you to be antisocial, but if you have this problem, maybe don't do that. Eating food when you're mad or upset. What you're doing is you're eating more than you should, and you're not really mindful eating. Smoking or chewing tobacco. People may not know that. Using a straw or drinking from a sports bottle. Why? Introducing air into your abdomen and your GI tract. Again, deep sighing. Consuming very hot or very cold drinks. Chewing gum. Drinking from a water fountain. Again, one of the ones we want to talk about is wearing tight-fitting clothing. And lastly, taking cold relief medications for too long. Interesting, right? Now, here's some foods that can lead to gas, right? First on the list, will not surprise you, right? Beans. I love beans and legumes, so I want to talk about how we can get past that, how we can have the foods that we love and are good for you and not have to worry about, hey, is this going to bother me, right? Then you have broccoli, cabbage, onions. These are foods that we recommend. They're great vegetables, and I think they really can help you. they can also sometimes lead to gas. Carbonated beverages, so we call it pop or soft drinks, sparkling water, carbonated wine, apple juice, prune juice, fried and fatty foods. Also, spicy foods can cause that. Dried fruits, and also low carb or sugar-free stuff that contains what? These are things that are not absorbed: sorbitol, mannitol, or maltitol. So these are all low carb or sugar-free foods. They don't get absorbed, so they produce gas. We can have bugs and bacteria eat them and can produce some of the gas that you have. So you may be wondering, right? Why do some of the stuff that I'm talking about cause you to have this bloating or swelling of your abdomen? Well, overeating or eating too much too quickly can cause bloating because your digestive system, right, slows down when you're trying to process a large or fast intake of food. Your digestive system kind of slows down to be able to meet that. You can also swallow air while eating, very important. Drinking through a straw or chewing gum ends up in your digestive tract. We talked about that, right? And then eating processed foods that are high in sodium, what does that do? Your body retains water and can cause your stomach to feel bloated, right? Very, very important. Sugary foods and snacks kind of break down in your body, can make you feel gassy. We know about carbonated beverages. They already have gas that are bubbled with carbon dioxide, and that releases into your stomach. Healthy foods like broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage can make people feel bloated. Why? These items contain sugars and starches that can cause gassiness and bloating, even though they're good for you. So it's important to know that. And for those who are joining us, talking about gassy feelings, being bloated, give us your questions. Let us know where you're joining us from. We'd love to answer them. Let's keep going. Beans, right? They contain raffinose. That's a type of carbohydrate that's poorly digested by the body. Raffinose, Raffinose. The bacteria in the large intestine breaks down the raffinose, resulting in gas and bloating, right? I love beans, and I think beans are very healthy. However, they're not always digested well, and so it can cause that. If you have a food allergy or intolerance, you may feel these symptoms after eating food containing wheat, lactose, fruit, or eggs. So remember that. Now, what else can cause bloating, right? Constipation. Bloating can also occur when your digestive system slows down and you don't have regular bowel movements. The longer your stool stays in your colon, the more time bacteria have to ferment what's there, so that it results in more gas and bloating. Very, very important to know that. So here's the thing, right? I mean, we don't want you to feel like if you're bloated, that's the end of the world, but I think it's important to know what's causing it, and so irritable bowel syndrome. This is thrown out all the time, this term. Irritable bowel syndrome is a common disorder that affects the stomach and intestines. Now, bloating symptoms quite common in patients, right? It's often described as one of the most distressing things that are associated with IBS. And bloating can result from increased gas production from bacterial fermentation of undigested food and retarded gas transit. What that means is slowing down of the gas transit and heightened sensitivity from the gut to normal gas. So meaning that you may have the same amount of gas, and what happens is that amount of gas can cause you to feel like you're bloated or uncomfortable. So I'd love to be able to see some of these comments. Let me just I'm going to log into the live right now and see what's going on, because I want to be able to answer some of these comments. So thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it. Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to tune in here, and I'm going to answer some of these. Say hello to some folks, and somebody said, "Hey, is bloating common with menopause?" It can, because changing the hormones, right? When you have menopause or any change in your hormonal status can change the way your gut moves. The motility of your gut can change. Again, I'll tell us where you're joining us from, and I'll be able to share this. I have to look at my phone because I'm not seeing it on my computer. And Sharoon Ali says, it's happening to me. Vicky McDonald says, Dr. Nee, I'm having problems now with constipation. And here's the thing, right? When you have constipation, there are ways to be able to understand, hey, what is actually causing the constipation? And if you get rid of that, that can often help with your bloating. I'm going to keep going. Thanks for joining, and thanks for all the comments and all of the questions. And I'll promise I'll get to them. What about SIBO? SIBO, fancy word thrown out all the time, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And SIBO occurs when bacteria from the large intestine migrate into the small intestine. It can cause symptoms such as bloating, diarrhea, and constipation. Why is that important? Because the bugs that go into the small intestine, right? The bugs that go in the small intestine have all this food. Small intestine has all this food that it's digesting, and it can break those down and then cause the gas. What about gastroparesis? Gastroparesis, fancy word. It's a condition that affects the normal movement of the muscles in your stomach. Gastroparesis, I'll have my team put up there. GASTROPARESIS, gastroparesis. So very, very important. Ordinarily, you have strong contractions. Remember, the muscles in your stomach push the food out. Ordinarily, there's strong muscular contractions pushing the food through your digestive tract. But if you have this gastroparesis, oftentimes diabetics can have it, but sometimes even without diabetes, if you have gastroparesis, your stomach's motility or movement is slowed down or doesn't work at all, preventing your stomach from emptying properly. What about gynecologic conditions? I often tell my patients that, hey, if you have some of these issues, make sure you check with your OB/GYN or look for gynecological problems. Endometriosis. How many of you have endometriosis, or have been told you have that? In the womb, the lining that attaches, that's basically in which the womb lining attaches to the stomach or intestines, can cause bloating, right? You're talking about the uterus. And if it attaches to the stomach or intestines, that can cause bloating, cramping, and abdominal pain. Now, women with early ovarian cancer, this is something that's important, may have bloating as the only symptom of a problem. So again, I'm not saying that if you have bloating, you have ovarian cancer, but you have to keep that in your mind. If it's something that's new, something that hasn't gone on for a long time, talk to your doctor, have them look at and see if there's any connection, and get the right testing, right? There are also medical causes. Important to know this. Inflammatory bowel disease, such as Crohn's disease, right? Things like acid reflux can cause heartburn and bloating. If you have weight gain, right? If if you have, some people during the winter have weight gain. If you have increased weight gain, that can also result in bloating. Hormonal flux, especially for women, can also cause that. Giardia infection, intestinal parasitic infection. These are things I want you to mention if you see your doctor. Hey, can we check for Giardia, right? Mental health factors such as stress, anxiety, depression. It's very important. And we've talked about the importance of gut health with things like stress and anxiety. The gut-brain connection is very important. Certain medications. Also, how can you prevent bloating? That's important. Typically, first line of treatment for preventing gas and bloating is changing your diet, right? Super important. Research has shown something called the FODMAP diet, right? A low FODMAP diet. And I'll have my staff put this up, but it's a low fermentable, right? Oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. FODMAP. A low FODMAP diet can reduce some of the symptoms of bloating and sometimes irritable bowel syndrome. What are oligosaccharides, right? Found in wheat, onions, garlic, legumes, and beans. Please let us know if you missed some of this stuff. We can give them to you in different form. So oligosaccharides, wheat, onion, garlic, legumes, and beans. Disaccharides, for example, such as lactose in milk, yogurt, and ice cream. Disaccharides, lactose in milk, yogurt, ice cream. Monosaccharides includes fructose. It's the sugar, right, that's found in fruits and honey, apples, and pears. Then polyols, POLYOLS, or sugar alcohols, can be found in fruit foods such as apricots, nectarines, plums, and cauliflower, as well as many chewing gum. Right, you chew a piece of gum, may not know that could have, right, sugar alcohols. That could add to it. One of the things I tell my patients: please don't chew gum if you can, if you're having this problem. Not only do you swallow air, but some of those sugar-free or low sugar may have sugar alcohols. People who are sensitive to FODMAP-rich diets, right, the small intestine doesn't always fully absorb these carbohydrates. Instead, they pass down to the colon and they're fermented, they're broken down by the bacteria, produce gas. You feel like you're bloated, you're uncomfortable, you feel like you're pregnant, right? And then what you want to do is you want to see if some of those foods can be added to that, because a lot of them are healthy. So this, I've been talking about some of the products I've created, and one of them I'm really proud of is the digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes, comprehensive blend, right, of acid-resistant plant-based enzymes. I'll put it up here. It's just Dr. Nandi, the Partha Nandi MB digestive enzymes. I like them because they're acid-resistant. Why is that important? Because your stomach has acid. If it's not acid-resistant, it gets broken down, right? Broken down. These are plant-based, right? It's important to be plant-based for me because I want them to be as natural as possible. Plant-based enzymes that's designed to maximize the digestion and absorption of nutrients, right? So to me, beans are awesome. Legumes are awesome. Cauliflower, broccoli is awesome. But if you can't have them, they're not awesome. And this helps you to be able to digest those if you're not able to now, and not give you the bloating, right? So digestive enzymes, expertly formulated to help your digestive system, to make sure that you try not to get the bloating. So clinical applications, digestive enzymes, to me, specifically made, and we looked at the research, right, to support digestion and help unlock more nutrition from food. So why is that, right? Remember, each of these capsules contains what? Lipase, amylase, lactase. Lipase and amylase, right? Lipase and amylase, they're produced in the pancreas. I'll ask my team if you're interested in picking one up now. Please, we'll put up the link so you can pick that up anytime you want to. But let me keep talking about it. So lipase, amylase from the pancreas helps to digest food. Lactase and cerulase and protease, that helps in the digestion of the protein, starches, and fiber. So what happens is that often they're difficult to digest foods. I'll talk about cerulase, CERECALASE, and that's in my digestive enzymes product. And cerulase is a special blend of what's called hemicellulase. That is something that's specially formulated to digest the walls of plants for those of us who like plant-based diets, right? Super important. It gives you better nutrition from a plant-based diet because it's not always possible. People want to often have a plant-based diet, but you can't handle it because of the digestive tract. So cerulase is in this Dr. Nandi's digestive enzymes. Also, we have gentian root. It's a traditional bitter herb, as well as artichoke, which is a natural choleritic, which means that it helps the body stimulate what? The natural production of enzymes and bile. Remember, bile is used to digest the fats that you have. So you're basically taking the same foods that you have and unlocking the nutrients because you can break them down. And so to me, because of our hectic lifestyles, often we consume foods frequently overcooked. Digestion can be less than optimal. Poor digestion can do what? Produce bloating and occasional gas and cramping, sometimes not occasional, sometimes very frequent, and can lead to incomplete digestion of food proteins and food products that have been linked often to food sensitivity. So through more digestion, right, with enzymes, that prevents food from being fermented in the gut. So if you're digesting the food, it's not going to your bacteria, not making bad bacteria worse, not producing the gas. To me, making better use of your body to be able to digest the carbohydrates and removes the food source for these bad bugs. To me, another benefit of enzymes is that more nutrition and regular bowel movements. Now, what about enzyme depletion? What is that all about, right? So sometimes medications can contribute to side effects that stem from low, for example, acid production. Sometimes can lead to poor mineral absorption and poor absorption even of B12. And so it doesn't mean everybody who's taking medications, but you may be more prone to having less absorption of B12. Estimated 30% of Americans may suffer from this, right? Depletion of stomach acid due to medications or age, further compounded by the decline or reduction of enzyme production. So again, we're talking about some of the things that this digestive enzyme product can help you with. If you feel that's something that's beneficial for you, we'll put up the link right here. And again, the enzyme blend has a long history of use for those, so digestive enzymes, for those who need digestive enzyme support. So before, we used to use animal enzymes, right? We're preferred to vegetable enzymes for digesting protein. But digestive enzymes can use these plant-based enzymes and function in a broader pH range, which means that it can be effective in a variety of situations. And so every one of these enzymes tested the pH, temperature, and then gastric survivability, meaning that it survives in the stomach. So the blend of proteases and digestive enzymes effective in breaking down proteins from soy, whey, and casein from milk products, and lipases for fat breakdown. Let me just go look and see some questions here if I can. Thanks for joining us. For those of you joining us now, let's take a look. Let's see, Gail James is watching. And then let's take a look. Kathleen Anderson, thank you so much. Let me take a look. Let me take a look here. I'm going to try to see if answer some of your questions. Please let me know where you're joining from. Orlando, Florida, Sharoon Ali. And Stella says, what foods to avoid if someone feels bloated? And I talked about that, right? So things, for example, beans and broccoli and cauliflower. But I think these have great nutritional capabilities. So that's why I think that it's very important to be able to these digestive enzymes can help you, because if you feel like you're bloated and you can't take these foods, it's important to be able to say, maybe I can take this digestive enzyme. My team tells me that, let's take a look. Sharoon Ali says, just did an endoscopy, going to do a colonoscopy 4th November and DNC with the OBGYN 11th November. But I'm trying to, let me just take a look, Sharoon. Let me take a look and see. And it's important to do a colonoscopy. Here's the reason why it's important to do a colonoscopy, because you want to make sure there's no inflammation that can contribute to inflammatory bowel disease or any type of colitis that can lead to your motility or your movement of your intestine that can result in bloating. Let's take a look. Gail James, again, thank you. Let's see. And then Harry Zawadi Al-Uzaizet said, what do you suggest to me check if I'm having difficulty inhaling all the way in? Very important, different topic than this, but very important to check a chest x-ray to make sure things are happening. Bonnie Thompson, thank you. Josie, thank you for watching. Let's take a look here. Loretta Walters, and Wayne Langston. I'm going to have my team just answer give me some of these questions, because I don't want to spend a lot of time looking for them. So here we go. Is it good for chronic gastritis? Loretta Walters said. Here's what I will tell you. Chronic gastritis is a different set of symptoms, right? So it's inflammation of the stomach. This is more when you have difficulty with digestion. So it's a very different problem. If you have chronic gastritis, I would recommend, if you haven't had an endoscopy, have that endoscopy, get a biopsy to see why it's happening. Vicky McDonald says, can I take if I have kidney stage 3B disease? You should be able to take it. None of the compounds there should be dangerous, but please, when you have stage 3 kidney disease, you want to make sure that you check with your doctor before taking any products. But looking at the products, none of them should interact with you having a stage 3 kidney disease. And my team will keep giving me questions, but let me keep going. I think it's important to have a plant-rich diet, right? And digestive enzymes often gives additional support, because it helps to break down, like I talked about, the cell walls of the plants to be able to effectively absorb this, right? So the salicylase, pectinase, silanase, all these are present in the digestive enzyme products. So again, we'll put up the link if you feel like this is something that's helpful for you. What else can you do to decrease bloating, right? We talked about the digestive enzymes that you can take. Eat slowly, consume smaller, more frequent meals. Chew your foods very well. Drink beverages at room temperature. Have your dentures checked for a good fit. Important, right? Because you want to make sure you chew your food well. Increase physical activity during the day. When you're moving, your digestive tract follows quite often. Try not to lie down after eating. Sit straight up after eating, and maybe take a stroll after eating. When should you be worried, right? People may have may have stomach bloating, but when should you be worried with the bloating? Well, it's a common experience, right? And usually temporary. You may become quite wary of it, and spending a little focused attention on the problem can help you identify the cause, right? So try recording your symptoms, write down, hey, this is what happens in a journal. You note your diet, note your hormonal factors, stress factors, right? And you want to take it to a specialist. To me, if there's an abrupt change, very important to let your healthcare provider know. And then, you want to make sure that you take away things like that could be causing it, such as inflammatory bowel disease. And we talked about one of the can be an early symptom of ovarian cancer. Get your healthcare provider involved if it's getting progressively worse, persists for more than 1 week, persistently painful, and comes with other symptoms such as fever, vomiting, or bleeding. Very important. I'll repeat again. When it's getting progressively worse, persists for more than a week, persistently painful, comes with symptoms of illness such as fever, vomiting, or bleeding. Remember, bloating stomach is not a pleasant feeling. The key to preventing bloating is understanding its cause, right? If you have mild constipation and that's the cause, right? That's the problem. Fiber-rich diet, water, and exercise can help, but this may not help for everybody, right? Chronic constipation and also things like IBS, gastroparesis may require medical treatment, so see a professional. You can do simple lifestyle changes, right? Low FODMAP diet, we talked about that. Avoid fermentable, gas-producing food ingredients. Supplements, like we talked about, we talked about our digestive enzymes, can be helpful. Backed by science. Listen, evidence base is very important for us. It's expertly formulated, helps digestion, maximizes nutrient absorption. It's very important. Improves gastric acid balance, relieves bloating and indigestion. It's gluten and yeast-free, no artificial flavors. So excellent. Let me just see if I can answer some questions. Thank you again for joining us today. Let me see if my team has given me any more questions that we can answer here. Let's take a look. Keep those questions coming. I'm just looking at these questions so that I can answer them fully. Here we go. All right. All right, FODMAP. Cindy Zwick says FODMAP helped me a lot and removed carbonated beverages. So I listen, it's very, very important to know that, if you have a low FODMAP diet, that may be one of the first things you can do to be able to help. And then Cindy Zwick says, how come many of the enzymes, pre and probiotics, you can purchase also say can cause gas, bloating, etc. Super important question, right? And so remember, pre and probiotics are very different than the enzymes. The enzymes we're talking about, remember, has amylase and lipase. It has enzymes that can digest cell wall. That can help you with bloating. Pre and probiotic, not everybody, especially in the beginning, can tolerate it. So it can actually temporarily increase the bloating. It's important to know, right, that you may have temporary bloating with the pre and probiotics. The digestive enzymes are different. They're supposed to help with the bloating. It should not say that it increases your bloating. So very, very important there. And then let's take a look and see if I can get more questions here. Let's take a look here. Here we go. Misty had a question. If you have no discomfort in your stomach and no problem go to the bathroom, can you still be considered as bloated? Very important question. So she's asking, hey, you know what? I've got no discomfort. I'm going to the bathroom. Okay, am I still bloated? I will tell you that bloating, right? Bloating is important to understand that it's a feeling and it's a visual symptom. So if you're not having any discomfort, you're not feeling distended, then you're not bloated. But you may still have mild, moderate, severe. So if you're not physically bloated, you don't feel like you're full, then no, you're not bloated. Let's take a look. And Lori Hozeska says hello. Let's see if we have more questions. Again, we're talking about bloating. Give me your questions. Give me any concerns. And then we will also recommend any solutions that we may have for some of your questions. So let me take a look and see. I am having trouble seeing all the questions here. Let me see if I can move it down. There we go. How do I know when the bloating is from stress, right? So I would say it's a great question, because when your bloating is from stress, you'll notice that any stressful situation will increase that feeling. When it's not directly from stress, you'll notice that independent of stress, you'll be sitting there comfortably after eating a meal. Maybe you're watching TV and you'll feel like you're bloated. Many of my patients talk about that, right? So, and then Vinraj says, how do I know if I have bloating? I inherited a bigger tummy all of a sudden. It's physical distension, right? So if you have a sudden change with the shape of your abdomen, absolutely could be bloating. So get that checked out. But you'll also have discomfort and a feeling of discomfort. That's important. Indra Prasad says, hi, doctor. What can I do for bloating problems? At the end of my day, my stomach looks like I'm pregnant. So we talked about it. You can change some of the things that you do. Do you chew gum? Do you drink from a straw? Are you eating larger meals? And then, write down a diary of the things that are happening that causing some of the bloating. And if you feel like you've gone through everything and exhausted, if you look at our live, we talk about all of the recommendations to decrease bloating. If you feel like you've gone through all of that, then you may benefit from some of this product I'm talking about, which is digestive enzymes, and it may help you to be able to avoid that. So again, thank you so much for all of you who are joining me today. I appreciate your time. I know that you have a lot going on, but I think this is important stuff. If you think it's important, please share this with your tribe, your community, and again, keep those questions coming. We'll answer as many of them as we can. Remember, make healthy living a part of every day. We'll be back next Tuesday with another live that answers some of your questions and gives you some important health information. Until then, namaste. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Partha Nandi, and if you enjoyed that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of incredible information to help you start your health hero journey.